Yeah.
How you doing, Mr. Gibbons?
Yeah, you're always the first thing there, you know.
I can do those notes this time. The
Oh,
administrator's
there you go.
notes.
I didn't have time to get it done, so I apologize.
Next time.
Next time.
We'll have two of them next time.
We'd like to know what's going on.
Those are good.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room where it is accessible to the public. Simpson.
Here.
Sisson.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here?
Burbine. Here. Hines.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Awesome, thank you. If you could all please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1, approve this agenda, pay the claims as submitted, approve the city's treasurer's report for September 2019. And we have 2 special designated liquor licenses, one's for a wedding reception and one's for Blaze Banquet fundraiser. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second. Mike Sisson, Poyer Bum.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines. Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 2, approve the minutes of the October 1st, 2019 regular meeting of the City Council.
So moved.
Second. Second. Ben Johnson.
Sisson.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Abstain.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried. It is now time for the public forum. Somebody in the audience wants to present something. Now's the time and place for this wise council. And your name is?
Wise council people, my name is Ron Tillery. I am the executive director of PCDC, and I'm presenting you tonight the third quarter report of activity regarding the LB 840 account that we administer. We are continuing to see decreased receipts from LB 840 proceeds. However, the shortage, the pace of our shortage has started to level out and diminish. So that's a good sign. We're down 18.4% compared to this period last year, or about $90,000. But that pace of decline has slowed. So we're hoping that we can reverse some of that as a result of some of the work that we're doing elsewhere in the marketplace. Total receipts are $475,820. That includes some farm income, farm lease income, and also the sale of certified water rights that we accomplished earlier in the year. That was part of the last report that we presented. A couple of the other things that I wanted to call your attention to. This report includes the $75,000 payment to support the ball field complex financing that we pledged to do every year for the next, well, this is our second payment. We've got 13 more payments at $75,000 a year to support that project. That's included in this. And there are some other updates, primarily in the area of our rental relocation grants, our down payment assistance grants, and the PCDC's engineering and construction grants. Those have led to recruiting commuters or new residents to our community. We're now at 139 since the program was started a year and a half ago and counting. We've got a number of those also in the pipeline right now that will be completed before the end of the year. We've got increasing activity on the recruitment side and the project side. We've got a number of active construction projects right now, and including ground was broken this past week out of Crew subdivision, so that one's starting to move forward, and we're really excited about that. PCDC has been an advocate for that project for some time, so I'd be happy to answer any questions. By the way, at a future meeting, we'll provide you our latest economic indicators report. We're waiting on just a couple of pieces of information. We'll complete that this week and then deliver it at a future council meeting.
Appreciate the reports, Ron. Any questions from the council?
Do you know where SCAD stands on that house they were gonna put out at 11th and Logan?
Yeah, the house is essentially done. Some minor trim work being completed. They need to dig the basement now. And finding a crew to dig the basement has been a bit of a challenge, but I expect that to happen any day.
Great.
So that'll be a nice new addition in that neighborhood.
Better than the other two that was there.
Don't you miss them?
Good, get those down. Thank you. Anybody else on public forum?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, John Thorburn here as chairman of the Holdridge Tree Board, and I'm just presenting the annual tree board plan of action, which includes our accomplishments for last year. Of course, we hosted Arbor Day, that's our big event every year, and gave away over 200 trees and shrubs. We, at that time, acknowledged our memorial tree donors. We're fortunate this past year we had no hazardous tree complaints. We are also trying to inform the public through news releases and working on an inventory of trees on public property. Brad McInturk, one of our tree board members, has planted 7 memorial trees and 2 replacement trees and 6 new trees this last year. So a gain of 13 trees on public property. And looking ahead, pretty similar plan for the future. We'll be hosting Arbor Day again, continuing our educational efforts, hopefully completing the tree inventory, and working with the public on issues with diseased or damaged trees and trying to promote tree health and tree planting. And I'm sure hope you are familiar with the other tree board members, Deb Aldrich, Danita Felty, Brad McInturk, Karen Studi, and Paula Titus. They're very dedicated members of the tree board.
And they've been part of that tree board for quite a few years, the same tree board. Cool.
John, do you have any update on where the ash borer is, how far west it's gotten?
Most recent indications I have, they have found it in Lincoln now, and that's going to be tough because, of course, Lincoln's a city with a lot of trees. But naturally, by itself, those emerald ash borers can only move about 20-25 miles a year. So if you do that math, we could be a decade away from having that problem. It even becomes more difficult for them moving west because where you don't have a continuous forest, they somehow have to get some distance from one tree to another. Problem is us, people, and firewood and different wood products getting hauled that have the ash borer in them, and that's really how this spreads. And so sure would not encourage you to buy any firewood from any further east than about Grand Island, I think. But yeah, that's something we're looking at. Really, here in Holdridge though, it's been especially noticeable this past year, pine wilt on Scotch pine trees, really doing damage and, gonna take out a lot of them. I know some of the golf course here are gonna lose a couple. And, so.
What
that's
about the
kind of our more
bagworms on the
immediate problem.
evergreens?
Pardon me?
Bagworms on the
Bagworms, yeah, the last couple of years been kind of bad. They're not necessarily so fatal. They can kind of disfigure spruce and seem to be happening a lot on spruce. They can go after basically any conifer, but yeah, spruce have seemed to be the favorite host around here lately. Bagworm are kind of tough to treat for, but they're always, or they're very related to wet, humid weather like we've had the last couple of years, so maybe it won't be such a problem if we get into a drier cycle again.
And I presume some of these trees are being planted down to the south park?
Oh, yes, sir, yeah, we try to distribute them between both parks. Yeah.
Cool. Any questions? Damon?
You'll notice that I erred, and this is not on the agenda, so I told Ron to go ahead and make his, or John to go ahead and make his presentation, and you'll see it in your packet again next week for approval, for the next meeting.
So you'll have time to ponder it.
Whether to accept his report or not.
But we're glad to help folks in town if they have questions or issues with their trees. Be glad to take a look at them and see if we can help them figure them out.
Speaking of trees, we do have tree ordinances. I do have a little scooter, and I do ride a bicycle. Sidewalk's supposed to be how tall? Clear?
Oh, now I'm getting tested. 8 feet, I believe.
And streets are,
12?
you passed the test.
I get to stay in charge for another year? Okay.
You can stay for the whole meeting, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any other questions, or Mr. Mayor, any other questions?
One quick question on
Yes,
that
sir.
needle blight. John, is it doing good to have those sprayed?
If it truly is the pine wilt, probably not, Randy, but on other, pines, especially Austrian pine this year, I've seen some needle tip blights, and yeah, you can treat for those, but usually that's a spring, like May, June type, treatment you do. And a copper sulfate type of.
Yeah, I saw some of them getting sprayed here about a month ago. Probably wouldn't hurt anything.
It wouldn't hurt anything, but I don't think it's that very
Yeah.
effective at that point.
I thought it was supposed to be in the spring when you
Yeah,
did it early
yeah,
spring.
it is.
But it's bad around town.
Again, a real problem in humid, wet years like we've had.
Thank you, John, for
Thank you,
the
John.
ordinance committee, what they do for the city. Let's try this again. Anybody else have anything for the public forum that is not on the agenda? Okay, I will close the public forum. Thank you. Item 4, approve sidewalk use in the closing of West Avenue from 4th to 5th Avenue on Sunday, October 27th, 2019, from 4 p.m. to 6:30 for the annual Spirit of Grace Halloween Spooktacular Trunk or Treat event.
And Spirit of Grace is doing it. It'll be very similar layout to most years, but I did put a map out if you're having trouble visualizing the block we're talking about. And the map, they asked for 3:30 instead of 4. So could we ask for that now?
What we would do is that's on a Sunday.
That's on a Sunday.
What we would do is when we've done it in the past, we would put them out on Friday afternoon. And then you can put them out whatever time you
Right.
feel fit.
And I think that's why the half an hour got moved, because we have cars coming at 4. So they were thinking of dragging the barricades out.
But I think that's worked in the past. I don't think they've had any problem with it.
They just put everything back on the corners.
Right, and then we
Yeah.
pick it up Monday morning.
And as they observed in the little written part, anybody in that block has either partnered with us or is not open.
Yeah. By the way, this is Wendy Wyatt.
Sorry, started too quickly. Anybody have any questions?
What is this, 4th year, 5th year?
Um,
You've done this for quite a while.
yeah, I've only been here 3 years, but it had been around a couple of years by the time I got here. I think it might be the 7th for some reason.
That could be.
It says 7.
Okay, yeah.
And I think last year they figured around 2,000 kids. Something like
About 12,000 people altogether. There's, trunk or treats have to prepare for 600 kids coming to the trunks. And then there's also the games, bounce houses, hayrack ride, a lot of other things going down in the area too at the same time. So a huge percentage of the kids. And basically, we do it to try to keep them safe, and give them a place where they can relax and have a good time, and the parents could know that we've put some controls on who's passing what out.
And the Spirit of Grace Church will be open too?
Our building will be open. We use our own bathrooms and whatnot for public. If the weather's bad, we move the trunks and the games inside. This year, for the first time, we're gonna try to have the games outside with the trunks, if the weather's good. Last year, there was nasty, nasty wind, and you wouldn't have been able to play a game, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how that evening hits.
Any concerns or questions for Wendy? Thanks for helping get that organized. I'll have my costume on and a big bag.
Yeah. Say hi.
I always wear my costume.
Say hi if you can figure out which one I am.
Thanks, Wendy.
Motion to approve.
We,
I'll second it.
Here we go.
Doug Simpson, Larry Gibbons.
Sisson,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Hine,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now, proceed, huh?
You're ready to
I
go.
kind of figured it'd fall that way.
Item 5, consider ordinance 2431 amending chapter 6, article 3, section 6-302 of the Code Municipal related to weed and litter enforcement and assessments. Everybody has a copy of that in the packet.
I'll just address it. Rod, Dane, and I have talked about this, and it's basically a housekeeping matter. There's not many changes at all, but it's just a housekeeping matter, so it's a little easier for everybody. I've talked to my board both 1st of October and again today, and I don't think they have a problem. So, any questions you may have?
Glad you asked. Item B, 4th line, said railway line or all unattended woods. What is unattended woods?
Untended woods, trees that you're not taking care of.
Volunteer trees?
Well, the one I have here says of all woods.
I added untended woods in
Oh,
there,
and
so,
the new one, because I have the old one.
yeah. Just to help out a little bit.
You're
Yeah,
talking
you
about
got yours.
You're talking about volunteers in
Right.
the woods. Okay, I'm sorry, the one that I have here is not.
Before in the past, we've kind of gone with weed and grass 12 inches tall. Is that saying that we can, you have volunteer trees now?
Well, it appears maybe that's what that's saying, I guess.
That might,
That needs to be addressed.
So I know
Yeah.
last year, one time I had a complaint in an alley where some trees were popping up on their own and started to stick out in the alley, so.
There's even a few trees that pop up in people's gutters once in a while. People don't clean their gutters out there. Trees.
I can vouch for that.
Not many places, but there are a few. No, I'm sorry, the copy that I have, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't, I thought about it, I failed.
Sorry about that, because mine didn't say that. Unattended.
What other changes was there?
Publications, also, we added weed and litter removal at the very top. Took out a few words further. 7 days, the city may issue a citation rather than 5, it's been to 7. And then some stuff dealing with publishing. And during the month of April of each year is crossed out. And then, of course, the statutory references changed from 719 to 1720. So it's just kind of a housekeeping issue.
On the back side, that third paragraph there under F, the city shall maintain the right to continue the cutting of such weeds and removal of litter or any combination thereof, or at all times thereafter until new growth of the following year. The way I read this, if we cite them or we have to mow it, clean it up once, then we can do it the rest of the year too then?
Yeah, and
assess it?
that's currently in our ordinance right now. So that's why we just send out the one notice and they don't do it. But thing is, as I've told my board, we have to wait till it gets at least 12 inches again, because I've had people say, why can't we keep it on a regular 2-week mowing schedule for the city? And I'm sure a lot of the guys would like that, so it's not 12 inches long when they have to go mow it, but it's not a violation.
But you don't have to deal with the property owner again.
No, once it's been done, we usually, in most cases, will have the city go clean it up. We have cited people. That doesn't always seem to work. It's not changing people's behavior. Sometimes, well, even when we go clean it up and they get charged a big bill and stuff, sometimes that doesn't change their behavior either. So, I mean, we have some.
I wouldn't mind, but-
Some we have do it every year. I mean.
Any questions from the council? First reading?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 6, Article 3, Section 6-302 of the Holders Municipal Code related to weed and litter removal, to repeal all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to provide for the severability of all parts hereof, and to designate the time described when this ordinance shall be in effect. Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdridge, Nebraska.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve first reading of ordinance 2431.
Second
I'll
by
second.
Troy Vaughn.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
I was just gonna say we could table this second reading until all our council members here. The volleyball game must be over.
Volleyball game is over. Hopefully we get this wrapped up by 7 in case anyone else has kids in sports games that they need to get to today.
Did we win?
Not this time.
Do you want to, there's no hurry on this, is there?
Well, hold on. We keep having tickets pending on this. I'd like to get this done tonight, so I got some certainty when I go to court on what it says. If possible, I'd like to have you put it. It was just, this was brought up at my request because one of our county court judges was questioning the wording of the ordinance. That's basically all we changed. And eliminating the, what was that?
$25, Ron.
We just needed to change that because of the wording and do away with the publication notice that wasn't being done. You couldn't get it all done in that amount of time, so that's the reason for this. It's no big deal.
Not so much for the weed and litter, addressing that, more so for the legals, so we can
Yes.
take it forward. In that case, do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Aldridge, second.
Second.
Ben Johnson.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Irvine,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Alder.
Yes.
Final reading, ordinance 2431. An ordinance to amend chapter 6, article 3, section 6-302 of the Holdridge Municipal Code relating to weed and litter removal, to repeal all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to provide for the severability of all parts hereof, and to designate the time described when this ordinance shall be in effect, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdridge, Nebraska.
Motion to approve the final reading.
So moved.
I'll second that.
McDermott, seconds.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Yes.
Gibbons, Irvine,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Alder.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6, adopt resolution 2019-10, appointing an acting city administrator. Right now, our city administrator is going through some health issues. He's not able to be here for a while. And as the mayor has the authority to appoint people when he's elected, and I've appointed various people, I would like to appoint Dane Jensen to fill in the temporary replacement for the city administrator till Bob gets back. Any questions? Hopefully you've looked at the resolution. Any questions?
I'd move we approve resolution 2019-10.
I'll second that.
McDermott, seconds.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Irvine,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Alder,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes. Also appreciate Dane stepping up to help us out.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
I'm starting to wear a path between my office and Dane's. He's getting tired. I think he's gonna start putting security on the door so we can tell who's there. I appreciate Dane has really stepped up. Appreciate that. Item 7, award bid for the Guston Street paving project. I think we all have that in our packet.
We opened bids last Tuesday. Tyler from Miller Associates asked if he should be here. I didn't think it was necessary, as you see the bids in front of you. I did talk with Tyler. Tyler with Miller's has worked with Blessings quite a bit, and we would recommend that we deal with Blessings.
An original bid, we were kind of planning on somewhere around $1 million.
Well, the first one we got was $1,042,000, and then Tyler brought one to the bid opening. He refigured it, it was $992,000. And with Blessings coming in at $651,000, I think that's a pretty good bid. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, how much money were we getting for the grant?
350, I think it was.
That's correct.
So then it's gonna, 350, that puts 300,000, and we're splitting half with the county and half with the city, so it's gonna put us down to
Well, the time,
150,000, so it's gonna work out. I think it's a heck of a bid.
It's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
by the time the county pays $350, that won't be much
Tim,
for
did
us.
you get anything from Miller's for an engineering estimate? I mean, their services?
No, I have not got that from them, but there's still be some engineering costs when it comes to, for construction observation, which was not included, in the original bidding when we hired Miller's to design the project. The cost of construction observation was not included in that, so there will be some split costs in that.
Like you said, that would be split cost.
Yes,
Will they do the staking? Miller's do all the staking and
yes,
and all the layout for the project?
yes, sir.
Ron?
I'd just like to to mention that Blessing is also the contractor for the Crew subdivision, dirt work and paving, and that may have contributed to driving the cost down a bit, since they're mobilizing here for multiple projects.
Yeah, their mobilizing was quite a bit cheaper than the other two,
Yeah.
so right there was some of the savings.
We'll be here in town anyway. For once, that's nice to have a bit under.
Yeah.
That's not,
For change.
Our board, I run the figures past my board, and they were tickled with the low bid, so, and all the bids actually came in under, it was closer to what my guess was than the engineer's guess, but we work on miles, so, you know, we don't work on blacks, it's harder to guess blacks, but when you're out guessing miles, I was pretty close, I thought 800 originally, so.
Well, that's pretty good.
that's good. That's good to hear. Thanks, Bobby. Motion to approve the bid
So moved.
I'll second.
to Blessing Construction for $651,454.90.
Who is the second?
Mike Sisson.
Thank you.
Tim, do they have a startup date? A start date for construction? Let's just ask.
I'm not for sure, I did not look at that
Spring
closely.
of 2020, so.
So that's also probably a difference in concrete cost there, is one starting in the fall, one starting in the spring.
And completion date of,
May 31st of 2020.
okay.
Don't give much time.
They get started, weather permitting.
Of course, there's not a whole lot of utility work with this either, it's just basically the road and that's it.
Yeah, no
Not a
sidewalks.
lot of
no utilities.
elevation changes or.
No curb and gutter. There might be a couple culverts that they have to put in for drainage.
So it's pretty straightforward work.
Yes.
Some driveways. We have a motion and a second.
Burbine,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Thinking about the paving and Crew subdivision, measure project up in that corner of town on East Street. We had a bid of lowering the gas line for the safety of the gas line and the integrity of that. But we had a bid of a little over 33,000, and I was talking with Travis Hunter is here with us, the one who worked up the bid for Black Hills Energy. And I talking with Melissa Garcia, and she said the way that our contract is now, the city pays for lowering that. Is that correct, Travis?
I couldn't hear the last part, what you said. Melissa said what?
The way our agreement is now, if the city wants the gas lines moved or lowered or something for a culvert, the city pays for that?
Right. But it's also my understanding that you're currently in the process of revising franchise agreement with the city. And I haven't seen the final on that.
But Melissa says if our franchise agreement is not up for renewal yet, it's getting close, within like 3 years. She said if we would go ahead with the same terms, same rate, everything, do that new agreement with Black Hills Energy, then the new agreement, Black Hills pays for that, the gas line work, the streets and that. So, I've talked to Keyshawn, and talked to Melissa, and Sean was out of the state tonight, but if we could put this on the agenda for next council meeting, renewing the franchise agreement, and we'll look at it November 5th, whatever. Instead of us paying for lowering that line.
Save us 35,000 basically.
That looked good in the mayor's banking. I think that's a wise move for the city to do that agreement.
What's the term on those agreements?
Put it,
5 years.
25 a year.
do we have that agreement in our packet?
Yeah, you should have everything except, I don't think I included the franchise fee agreement.
Yeah.
But it is, the information's there that they wanna keep it at .009 per therm. Mary said that depending on the winter, of course, that we have, that results in about $21,000 to $23,000 a year.
And that's,
It's 25-year term.
This is the old rate. They wanna keep it at the old rate.
Right.
Does anybody know what other communities are doing?
I sent an email out to the cities of comparability, 511, 511, and I only got 2 responses, and they all do it different, so it's hard to tell, and I didn't get how it affected their budget. So the communities I heard from do like $5 for residential, and $10 for commercial, and $100 for industrial accounts. I'm gonna assume that it probably ends up banking about the same, but I don't know that for sure.
and Black Hills is pretty active in our community, volunteering different things, fire departments, and they've been good for the city, but I'd sure like to look at renewing that agreement, and we'll have time to look at it.
Do you think that's too quick, though, next council meeting? I mean, this is, still has 3 years left on it. Do they need it that quick, the next meeting? This new agreement?
You see a reason why, we got 3 weeks to look at it.
Oh, okay. Ron?
Do we have a copy of the old agreement? Could I get a copy of that?
Yep, it should be in your packet unless I just failed to put one in there.
And I talked to Sean, that, if we're looking at doing the East Street paving, and I would presume we would, Sean said he'll put that on the very first project they do in the spring. So, willing to work with us.
Well, they could go ahead and lower the line anytime, whether we get the paving done or not, at least the line would be out of the way then. So.
Correct. So, there'll be nothing to consider tonight. Well, we've got 3 weeks to look at the agreement. You have any concerns or anything?
Maybe by the next meeting, they can come up with some of the information on some of the other agreements. It's not like there's a lot of other utilities out there doing the gas in the area though either, so.
No.
It'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, we're going to go to litigation after the open discussion.
Do we have to table it or anything?
That just consider, so we'll have this
Do it at the next meeting.
on the next meeting. Say we'll have 3 weeks. Open discussion, Chief.
Nothing.
Dane?
Thank you, Mayor.
Troy?
Nothing.
Jason?
Nothing. Thank you.
Ben?
No thanks.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Doug?
I'll just point out former Councilman Ron Beck's funeral services tomorrow at the Catholic Church in the morning.
10:30, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think we got a card coming
I
around.
have a card pass around, so.
Mary has not signed it yet.
Thank you.
I don't think the chief has signed it yet.
We've got one from the police department, so
Okay.
unless you want me to sign it.
Thank you.
You
Mind if, see if you could deliver it.
I can probably take it with me.
say, get it from there.
Mr. Sisson, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mary?
It's been brought to our attention recently that there's been some issues reported by the school bus drivers with people blowing the stop signs that come out on the school bus. In order to help address that, it looks like the Holdridge Public Schools Foundation is going to be installing cameras on the buses to help us enforce that in the future. And I mention that because that's where the foundation's Give to Grow money is going. So we all have an opportunity to contribute to the safety of the kids by helping to chip in for those school bus cameras on Give to Grow Day through the Holdridge Public Schools Foundation.
Yeah. They should be getting them, I would think, pretty soon.
I think they said $12,000 or 12,600 or something
I
like
think
that.
I've heard that. Sounds good.
Mary, are we having lots of problems still? I mean, is it still an issue?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it from a bus driver. I think Ben talked to one or two guys. I think the issue comes down to enforcement because correct me if I'm wrong, but if a police officer didn't see it happen or if there's no evidence, you can't write a ticket. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I think maybe you weren't at one of the council meetings when I talked about that. The bus driver needs to be able to identify the driver, not just the vehicle. That's why when I had talked to them and they thought they would try to get cameras that would be able to assist in that. So just merely having a vehicle or a license plate isn't enough. We have to be able to identify who the driver.
Okay. And we
But,
could.
I mean, as far as having any other complaints, Randy, I don't think we've had any other, since we talked about it
Yeah,
before.
about a month ago, maybe.
And
I haven't heard anything since it
That's
was
what I
brought up to me
wondered.
about a month ago, no.
If it was still going on.
But hopefully when we get those cameras in, it'll help the bus drivers identify the driver, and then we go to a zero tolerance policy on this.
When the stop sign's out on the bus, it's not a suggestion.
I think we're at a zero tolerance policy anyways. It just hasn't caught anybody red-handed yet. But I guarantee as soon as they do, they're not gonna forget.
Right.
So, I think everything's being
Word
done
gets
right now.
around and people start paying more attention.
Gibbons?
Nothing.
Rod? Kim?
No, sir.
Brian?
Nothing.
Mary? Save the best for last. I will have to reiterate that October 1st, the boats, the campers should be off the city streets.
We have been contacting people. I think some people thought, I just talked to another person today who thought it was November 1st. I said, it's technically October 1st, and if the weather is okay, we don't enforce it really on contractors who are constantly moving their trailers. The little pickup bed trailers that people are putting leaves in, we sometimes leave a little exception for that because the leaves are just starting to fall now. But we like to see the boats and the campers and all that. So, although sometimes in October it's still very nice weather and people want to get out the last time, but I know some of us, I in my area have been contacting people. And I know I had one person who thought it was November 1st, and I told him, no, technically it's not, so if they could get it off as soon as possible, so. And other officers are gonna be contacting people.
I'll try to mention that on radio tomorrow. So. Nothing else. We need to, item 9, consider litigation. Need a motion to go into
So moved.
closed session for
Second.
issue of litigation. Second by Ben.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Alder.
Yes.
Thanks, we're